Hello, everyone, and welcome to Advantage Receiver. It's prediction time, and it's time to make some predictions for the 2023 Australian Open. Let's get right into it. Okay, so looking at the draw, what I have here, Nadal, obviously Nadal's the top seed because of the withdrawal from Alcaraz because of injury. Also, another name that was absent from the draw is Marion Cilic. She's also injured, so those two major champions, both U.S. Open major champions, are out of the 2023 Australian Open. Now, looking at Nadal's draw, I have some notes here that I made for potential stuff. So, Nadal's issues of his draw they're very tough. He's got Jack Draper round one, which is a potential upset for Rafael Nadal round one. He hasn't played that well in the opening tournaments leading up to the Australian Open. You know, he did make that run last year, but could he do it again? Let's see if that happens. But Draper's been playing very well, played really well in Adelaide, beat Khachanov recently. That's a tough first round matchup for Nadal. I think he gets through it, but later on he could potentially face Mackie McDonald, who has some good experience in majors, as well as Frances Tiafoe, a player I'm really looking at going deep in this tournament. So I don't know if Nadal really. I mean, people want that final, right? People want that final between Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal in the final. The two great icons of the sport in the final in Australia. We've seen their classic matches before. They want another one. I don't necessarily see it that way. I don't see Nadal and Djokovic getting to the finals. I don't see it happening. Djokovic, yeah, maybe. Nadal, I don't see it, but it's going to be a tough, tall task for Nadal to get to the finals, especially with the draw he has ahead of him, especially if he potentially has to face Tiafoe in the fourth round. A couple of marquee matchups for the opening round is Nadal and Draper, of course. Andre Rublev and Dominic Thiem. That's a really tough matchup for Thiem, I believe. Thiem is trying to get back to the form he had when he won the U.S. Open a couple years ago. And Rublev, he's kind of struggling a little bit in these opening turns, but that's a tough match for both players. I still like Rublev in it, but, it's a tough match for both of them. I could see going either way. I could see Thiem pulling the upset, but again, I think maybe is Thiem back to that form yet? It doesn't look like it, but we're hoping. We're hoping because Thiem was good for the sport. He was a good player when he was winning matches and winning the U.S. Open. And another one, if you're a Andy Murray fan, you're not liking this one at all. You got to go up against Matteo Berrettini, Wimbledon finalist. Big serve, big ground game, tough for Murray. I don't think Murray wins that one, but a tough, tall task for Murray to go against Berrettini round one. I like Berrettini's game. I think he's going to make a deep run here. Actually, Berrettini in my quarterfinals. I'll get to that a little later, who I have in my quarterfinals as far as predictions go. But yeah, it's a tough, tall task for Murray. And then I want to make a lookout for Alexander Zverev. It's his first tournament back since the ankle injury he suffered last year in Paris. We'll see how he plays. He's ranked 12th at the Australian Open this year, so we'll see how his game is. We'll see if his ankle is ready to go. Best of 5 sets depends if he has to play a long 5-setter. We'll see how his ankle holds up going forward. Another thing that's in play here is the number one ranking. Obviously, Carlos Alcaraz is out with injury. He's not playing in this tournament, so the number one ranking is up for grabs if these players make it to a certain point. The players that are in contention for number one are Casper Ruud, Novak Djokovic, and Stefanos Tsitsipas. The three scenarios where they can get to number one would be Ruud has to make the final, but he can't be playing Novak or Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas wins number one, Djokovic wins number one. So could it be a new number one after this tournament? I'm thinking so. Who will it be? We'll get to that. So going over some of the marquee matchups down the line, potentially, you could have potentially Nick Kyrgios taking on Richard Gasquet in round two, if that happens. Give Gasquet some credit. He's 36 years of age. He's playing in one of the semifinals in Adelaide right now. Currently, he's playing in the semifinals in the tournament leading up. So kudos to him still playing. I think Kyrgios wins the match, obviously. I think he wins out down under in Australia, but give Gasquet some credit. He's really battling still at this age, and that's, definitely a Hall of Fame career when it's all said and done for Gasquet. Potential upsets here. Holt could upset Bautista Agut. It's possible. Holt's been playing really, really well. Obviously, Holt is the son of Tracy Austin, so he's been playing really well to these lead-up tournaments, qualify for the Australian Open. Could that be a potential upset there? Brooksby against Ruud, that's a potential second-round matchup for Jenson Brooksby. He's playing really well in these lead-up tournaments. Could Casper Ruud fall early? I'm going to say no, but potential really troublesome match there for Casper Ruud in the early going down in Australia. And then Sebastian Korda over Medvedev. That's another one that you could look at as an upset. Medvedev you think he's going to win because of his ability to play as good as he has in Australia. He got to the final last year, lost in that 5-setter clash against Rafa Nadal. Korda put Djokovic as close to the edge of losing as he could. He had match points against him in the tournament in Adelaide, but Djokovic was able to come through. We'll see. But I like Korda going a little further than people think. I think you could do some damage in this tournament, in Australia for Sebastian Korda. And then a couple players to watch. I like Tiafoe, Korda, Draper if he gets past Nadal, and Ben Shelton. He's potentially getting to the third round if he gets some things go his way. He's won a couple of challenger tournaments this year. Ben Shelton definitely a player to look out for going to the tournament this year. Some good stuff from them. As far as my projected quarterfinalists, I like Tiafoe against Medvedev. I do have Frances Tiafoe beating Nadal in that fourth round matchup. Look, Tiafoe's playing really, really well right now. Played really well in the United Cup. Had that really heartbreaking loss last year in the U.S. Open to Carlos Alcaraz, a tough 5-set battle in the semifinals. Really tough break for him, but I think he maybe gets over that and wins over Nadal and gets to the quarterfinals against Daniil Medvedev. I have Tsitsipas and Felix Auger-Aliassime. Tsitsipas is playing really, really well. Felix is really honing his game now, so I think those two maybe clash up in the quarters. Nick Kyrgios and Djokovic would not be a classic match, especially all the attention Kyrgios is getting because of the Netflix show coming out. And then Djokovic, we all know about the stuff that's gone on last year with the Australian deportation and stuff like that. So Djokovic is looking to get back to Australia, win his 10th Australian Open. He's won 9. That's ridiculous. He's trying to get back to that point for himself. Taylor Fritz and Berrettini, 2 more Netflix guys that are going to be on break point. I think they have potential to get to the quarterfinals down in Australia. And then I have Tsitsipas winning. Tsitsipas, I don't think he was ready for that moment against Djokovic in Paris. He was up 2-0, and I think just the pressure got to him, and Djokovic was able to do what he always does, rise to the occasion and win another major. I think this is the time for Tsitsipas to win it. I think Tsitsipas gets to the final. I think he plays Djokovic. Djokovic has never lost the Australian Open final. I know it's crazy to think betting against Novak in the French Open final is like betting against Nadal in Paris, but I think Tsitsipas gets over the hump and wins his first major title and becomes the brand new number 1. Outlandish as that may sound, I think Tsitsipas can get it done. Women's bracket. Let's go over some of the things there. Can Iga win back-to-back majors? That's a question. Who can make a deep run in this tournament? It's kind of wide open. Even though Swiatek is the clear consensus favorite because she won the U.S. Open last year. She was on the tear last year like nobody ever saw in women's game. 36-game match winning streak, just the dominant number 1 that everyone saw. Can anyone challenge her? So I have a dark horse. If I had a dark horse, if I went to the men's side dark horse, I like Frances Tiafoe. I have Tiafoe in my semifinals against Tsitsipas. I like Tiafoe's game. I think he's really, really playing well recently. Again, I feel bad putting Tiafoe in that position, in my predictions anyway, to put him in another major semifinal, have him lose again. Just a heartbreaking loss to Alcaraz. But I think Tiafoe is almost there. I think he's very close to getting there to that point where he could potentially win majors, and I think he's going to get very close down in Australia. And then the women's side, I like Qinyan Zheng. Qinyan Zheng was the 2022 WTA newcomer last year. She's playing really, really well recently. She pushed. I mean, when Swiatek was dominating everybody, right, in Paris, she went up against Zheng, and I even predicted a while back, I tweeted about it, saying, could Zheng be a potential upset for Swiatek? And Zheng won the first set, and then she injured her leg, and Swiatek was able to win. But had her leg not got injured, would she have won that match? Who's to say? But I think Zheng. Now my concern is Zheng's leg injury kind of flared up against Kvitova in Adelaide. Will she be able to cover in time to play well enough in Australia? I'm hoping so. She's my dark horse. I have her going to the quarterfinals. Qinyan Zheng, really good player, good on both sides, really good serve, really good mover. I think she could do some damage. And can she upset Swiatek? That's the question. She's in my quarters. Can she get there? We will discuss that. So a couple things on the women's side. The third round, you could potentially see Iga Swiatek. And everyone's talking about Iga Swiatek. Her draw is tough. And it kind of is. She could potentially play Andreescu. Now, Bianca Andreescu has not been the same player she was when she won the U.S. Open a couple years ago over Serena. Can she get back to form? That's a potential third-round matchup for Swiatek. If Andreescu's playing really well and she's playing the way she's supposed to and has at the U.S. Open when she was playing the way she did, that could be a potential issue for Swiatek. I still have Swiatek winning that match, but that could be a potential tough match for Swiatek in the third round. Also, Rybakina and Collins, a potential third round match. Rybakina won Wimbledon last year. Really good player, really good serving. Collins is as good as they can be if she plays the way she can. I know it didn't sound right, but Collins beat Swiatek last year in the semifinals in Australia. Got to the finals, obviously losing to Ash Barty in the final. But Collins can play really well when she wants to. She's got a really good serve, really good ground strokes, really confident player. So that could be a really good third round match if Rybakina and Collins both get there. And then Zhang and Gauff, look, I picked Coco Gauff last year to get to the finals and win her first major. I like Coco Gauff. I like her game. She's playing really well. Really a lot of confidence coming from her. But I got to go with my dark horse. I can't back off of it. I like Zhang over Gauff in the third round. Look, I want Gauff to be great, and I think she will be. But, I think Zhang may be towards, I think she'll pick up where she left off in that 2022 season where she was playing really, really well and was obviously the newcomer of the year. So that should be an interesting third round match. And then going to the fourth round, a couple matches there. Again, Swiatek and Collins, fourth round, again, rematch of the last year's semifinal. Can Swiatek get over that over Collins? I think she will, but that's a tough task. Again, everyone's saying it. I agree 100% that Swiatek's draw is tough. Especially, again, Andreescu the third round, Collins fourth round. Even the first one, she's got to play Neymar, who she almost lost to in the U.S. Open. She lost the first at 6-2. She ended up coming back and winning. She won the tournament. But, man, that was a tough first round matchup for Swiatek in New York. So, again, she does have a tough draw ahead of her, but I think Swiatek is playing well beyond everybody else at this point, and I think she does get through those tough task matches. We'll see what happens, but I think she will. I think she'll get through those matches and get to the final. Fourth round, another match. Badosa and Zhang. Again, I like Paul Badosa's game. Obviously, a winner from Indian Wells a couple years ago. Really good player. She's going to be on Netflix series. Also, a lot of eyes will be on her. But again, I got to go with my dark horse. I got to keep going with that. I think Qinyan Zhang, again, it all depends on the injury. If she is favoring her injury during those matches, then all bets are off. But I think if she comes in healthy enough to play, she will do some damage in this tournament. So, again, then I'll go to my projected quarters. I have Swiatek and Zhang. Jessica Pegula is playing really, really well. Jessica Pegula playing very well. Beat Swiatek at the United Cup. I know it's an exhibition event, sort of, but she did still win. She won pretty dominant fashion, 2-2. I have her going against Sakari, who I like. I think Sakari could do some damage as well. She's made a couple gotten to the finals a couple years ago here, so I think that should be good. Kudermetova, my goodness. Kudermetova is serving really well. She's actually in the semifinals now in Adelaide. So she's doing some damage. She's doing really well for herself. And then I have Bencic and Jabeur in my other quarter. I do have Sabalenka falling there, only because we'll see if the serve yips are still there. A lot of people are picking Sabalenka. I don't know. I like Bencic. She's playing really well right now, too. We'll see what happens with that one. And then my final is Swiatek and Jabeur. The repeat final of the U.S. Open, where Swiatek prevailed over Jabeur. Give credit to Ons Jabeur. If she gets there, it'll be a third straight major final for Jabeur. She made the finals of Wimbledon and lost to Rybakina. Made the finals of New York, lost to Swiatek, and now this one I have a rematch of New York. I think Jabeur prevails in this one. I really do. I think Jabeur finally gets over it and wins her first major over Swiatek. Jabeur's been playing, like I said, really, really well recently. Again, Wimbledon final, New York final. I think she continues that trend and gets to another final, but I think she wins this one this time. It's going to be tough to take down Swiatek, but I think because Swiatek's going to play players like a potential Andreescu, a potential Collins, a potential Zhang in the quarters, if that's the way it goes, I think eventually Jabeur might get her and get her first major title down in Australia. A couple things before I adjourn. A couple players I'm looking at, enjoying to watch. On the women's side is Mahar Sharif. She's an Egyptian player, top 50 right now. I saw her play in Indian Wells, just a huge fan of her game. So I hope she does really, really well in the tournament. I'm looking forward to seeing her play. And then a lot of the people are looking at the Netflix people, like Berrettini, Tiafoe, Fritz, Badosa. Those players, see what they do. They're going to have curious, a lot of eyes on them. So definitely look forward to that going forward down in Australia. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. Definitely check the article in the description below. I'm going to make an article more detailed about who I'm picking and why. It's a more in-depth article about my predictions for the 2023 Australian Open. I hope you read that and enjoy the article there. But yeah, I'm glad to be back doing these videos on Advantage Receiver. A lot of things were changing, moving, and getting readjusted to things, but I hope you guys are ready for a good 2023 season. Stay tuned to Advantage Receiver for more updates on the 2023 Australian Open. Follow my socials down below, and let's enjoy some tennis. Thanks for watching.